I'm actually really frustrated with myself on all this because it should have been really simple. Welcome back to Project Quackers. So I've been looking at this, yes, the wiring diagram, which of course is no use whatsoever because this is for the Honda. So I've also been looking at this one, the Kawasaki, and I think I've just got this in a terrible mess. This bit here, yeah, the fuses mainly, and without any outside assistance, I've just been kind of thinking through things logically. As to what I've done and what things have been like in the past with other bikes. Because basically everything coming out of here is a permanent live, regardless of whether the switch is on or off, which of course is wrong, quite wrong. So I've got that main feed, that red and white, coming in to provide power to the panel. And that's a permanent live off the solenoid here. Well, that looks red and yellow, but anyway, on the diagram it's red and something. And that needs a 30 amp fuse in between it before it gets to that panel, I think. Remember we fitted that 30 amp marine kind of trip fuse thing to the Suzuki, I think it was. Or was it the other Honda? I don't know. Anyway, that's what I think we need. And that needs to go via a switch as well, right? So this switch that I've got up here, by the handlebars, is much later along in the story. This is the kill switch, effectively, I think. We'll have to check that again. But if you remember rightly, I was trying to be a clever dick and combine the kill switch with the main ignition. Not sure if that's going to work now. We'll have to check. Just shouldn't be this confusing. Should have been really simple. And I'm even beginning to question now whether this is the right hand side or this is the left hand side, because those wires kind of don't match up to anything on the diagram and vice versa. And talking of annoyances and things that I haven't really thought through, the seat, in an effort to keep this plane as flat as possible, I thought countersunk might work, but of course without a metal washer that's just going to pull through that rubber washer all the way, so that ain't going to work. So for now we're just going with some big ass washers. Then of course there's the whole fixing the seat to the tail thing, which we started to look at last time, i.e. that inaccessible screw hole. Nope. Haven't worked anything out on that yet either, but that at least is better from a side profile. However, on review, the only thing holding the tailpiece in position, apart from gravity, is those two countersunk screws and big ass washers. Yeah. So one could lift the seat up like that to secure the actual seat. So lift the tailpiece up, that's what I meant. So potentially we could put a fixing here out of the way of the light, which is here, that one could get to relatively easily. I think that's our best option. So I think we're going to use the same method, i.e. a small rivet nut thing in the seat, and then that situation. So I think what we're going to do first is drill a hole in the tailpiece and then see where that ends up on the seat. And another thing I've noticed while we've been messing around with this whole tailpiece section, this was actually out of the Yamaha R6. So, and that had a secondary, so this was a brake light on the Yamaha, whereas it had a secondary one for the running light. So this is only literally a on-off type deal, and obviously for the Kawasaki we need a brake light on there as well, so we need 3 wires that and an LED strip that lights up brighter when on the brake. Worry, I'm pretty sure I've got one in here, and it's probably that. Actually, it is. But LED brake bullet. Anyway, so it's going to be one of those that I'm going to have to chop around about there and situate accordingly, because this has got indicators as well. We don't use indicators. Nobody uses indicators, so what the hell. Good news on that is I won't have to cut it, because there's the brake light bits in the middle there. Meanwhile, X marks the spot, or that big dot, and actually I'm not so sure about that. So, minor adjustment by eye, slightly left and slightly further forward in the seat. Anyway, I'm going for an M5 again, like this. So there's my M5 rivet on the end of the drill. Yeah. And I'm starting with a drill bit that fits inside. Might need to go a little bit larger. But it's a good starting point, right? Obviously drilling very carefully, because we don't want to come ripping through the other side. Yes. And although these drills are infinitely superior to these drill bits, they go in big jumps. So the next jump up from 1/4 was 5/16, whereas over here, sadly 17/64 is missing, but 9/32 was perfect. So yeah, it's a better array, and it's only drilling through a tiny little bit of sheet metal. So yeah, job done. Well, it seems to work. Time to flip it over, see what it looks like. Yeah, that'll work. And there's our new dual aspect rear light fitted LED strip. Let's see if it works. Using our trusted HVAC tape. Brilliant stuff. Very sticky, very durable. It's basically tinfoil with super sticky glue on. Only thing I hate about these LED strips is the ridiculously small wiring. I think I've said it before. Anyway, so I don't have any instructions either, but your best guess is black is usually earth or ground. Red is usually brake. White is usually running light. And then yellow and green are usually the indicators. We shall see. Luckily, in addition to my super cool Klein Tools wire strippers, I mean, these are just the best job because they hold it while you're stripping it. I do happen to have this El Cheapo pair, which goes down to super thin, and they work for these ridiculously thin wires. Talking of El Cheapo, time for our little test battery. Yeah, wonderful little thing actually. $20, I think. We have running lights. Oops. Yeah, we have brake lights somewhere. There you go. Definitely brighter. And you'll be glad to know, especially Mr. Stewart, that I guessed right. Yeah. Makes a change. Alrighty, so we've worked out the seat, we worked out the rear lights. Well, we've worked out some of the seat. It still leaves this front end, which I'm not sure whether I want to tuck under the tank or not. If I don't, then obviously we have to cut that bit off, which is going to be a bit difficult. And maybe put some kind of brace across here that it fits to. Maybe. Suppose you want me to put the tank on and see if it all works, right? Don't know if I've got the energy. Well, all right then. The good thing is every time I put this tank on, I remember how gorgeous this colour is. And that's that candy paint from Crazy Cans, I think. Wrong again. Custom Cans. Lovely people. Great paint. Well, it's not on properly 100% at that new mount that we just put in there, and the seat itself is sitting high, so when you sit down it does that and then puffs up this bit, which doesn't matter because your arse is going to be on that, but you know, when it's sat you don't want it doing that really. I don't know if I want to put a strap across the back there. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe the answer is also to abandon this idea of tucking it under the tank here. I don't know at this point. It doesn't look bad overall, I agree. But I did want this little kink here. Yeah, I want the flip up to match the tail. So maybe we do need a strap there. And on that note, I think we'll call it a day. More frustrations to come. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so down here. And encourage others to watch my lunacy.